Hello and welcome to the stream. Today I'm doing something a little bit different. I'm going to talk you through exactly what's in my little mobile, it's really my mobile office, but it could really be a mobile studio at this rate because I realize I've been adding in a certain amount of gear that could be for a mobile creator. The irony is that obviously, as you know, if you follow my stuff, I'm not doing any sort of mobile content creation. So there we go. But perhaps I should start now that I've got my bag filled with all of the gear. But really what this is I carry this around with me literally everywhere, all around the house. Every time I go out, it always comes with me because, as I say, it is my sort of mobile office, really. And I've got some tools that I've been using for years and some that I've been sort of adding in relatively recently. So let's just start off with talking about this, which is the Alpaca Vertex pouch. I've left links to all of these things in the description. I used to use for ages the Peak Design Tech pouch, which is this one, and this is basically my little man bag and my handbag. But this was you've probably seen this, the Peak Design pouch. I love the organization that this gave, so this was my second one of those. But when the Alpaca Vertex pouch came out, I switched over to this, and what I love about it is, first of all, it's got just a little bit more space in it than the Peak Design did, but it's also got this nice feature that when you open it, well, first of all, there's a little zip pouch on the front, so that gives you a little pocket inside there. But also, when you open it out, I just love the way that it opens out to reveal this thing. So this also now just sort of sits on my desk. So when I come into my studio, I just plop this down on the desk, and then I can see all of my stuff in here. So they call it a desk caddy, so it just keeps things nicely organized. So another little step up from the Peak Design. I also love that pocket that you've got on the front for things you want to be able to access quickly is also accessible from in here. So when it sits on the desk, we can get into all of those things. So basically what I'll do is I'll just sort of run through all of the things in here. We can have a bit of a better look at the bag once all of this stuff is out of it. So I'm going to start with, really, I called it my mobile office. And the thing about it is I'm surprised by how much I can do on an iPad mini. So I do have the iPad mini, currently the iPad mini 6, but I will be swapping this out for the iPad mini 7 because my son seems to want to take this one more often than not than me. So I definitely need to sort that out. So this is the iPad mini 6 at the moment with just, I don't even know what brand this case is. I used to use the Apple folio style ones. I used to find they used to get so sort of scuffed at the corners and they would eventually fall apart. So I decided rather than paying for the Apple ones, I'd just use something like this, which has got a much better protection. Again, I refer you to the fact that my son, who is just coming up to 6, uses this a lot. So it's good to have some sort of hard, rugged bumper around the side so that when he drops it, or when I drop it more than often, that it gives it some protection. So that is the iPad mini. And then this is really something that I've recommended to so many people. It's actually on my my Amazon store and on my Amazon sort of list. It's the most bought product from my list because I talk about it relatively often and I tell everyone I meet about it, and it is a folding keyboard. But the genius part of this folding keyboard is that when you fold it out, it does actually fold out into a full-size keyboard. So this is exactly the same size as the keyboard that you would get on your Apple laptop, for example. And in fact, the keys feel relatively similar as well. So the amount of travel that you get on the key is going to be similar to that you get on the Apple keyboard. But you'll see that whereas with most folding keyboards, there is a clear sort of line down the middle where they fold, you can't really see the fold here because the keys are they've got that same sort of staggered effect that you have with a regular keyboard. But the genius move is the way that it folds. You can see that it doesn't fold in a straight line. Some of those keys sort of fold in on themselves, and some of them are you know, the keys are sort of overhanging the fold, if you like. But the effect of it is that when it folds out, it is a regular keyboard. For ages, when my Mac keyboard gave up, my ancient Mac Apple keyboard, I should say, I was using this as just my regular keyboard on my Mac as well. You can pair it with 3 devices, so I had it paired with my Mac, my iPad, and my phone. By the way, you can actually just plug it in over USB and use it as a USB keyboard. So if you've got any issues with using Bluetooth keyboards, like wanting a wide connection, you can use it as a wired keyboard as well. So I was using it as my regular keyboard on my Mac as well. Actually, I ended up just changing it out for this thing, but honestly, this is a Ugreen keyboard, and quite honestly, it's trash. So I'm going to just go back to a regular Apple keyboard, but I haven't quite done that yet. But yeah, I really love this keyboard because, as you can see, when it's folded up, it is smaller than the iPad Mini, and it's the problem I've always found with folding keyboards. And by the way, I've tried dozens of them over the years trying to find the perfect one. Was that if you've got any keyboard that is not a regular size keyboard, you can't really do any productive work on it because you haven't got that muscle memory to be able to touch type on it if you are somebody who touch types in any case. Whereas this one, because it is just a regular keyboard, it means you can just use it exactly the same as you would with any other. So I highly recommend this. The brand is iClever, and it's the BK05. They do make a few of these actually in different sizes though, so just beware of that. That there is one that's like a mini keyboard, which is, I guess, sort of 2/3 of the size, so you don't want to get that one. I've dropped a link in the description to the one that it is. I will just drop this into the chat as well, though. So I'll just drop this, into here. In fact, it would help if I dropped it into the correct place. I just realized I haven't got my regular chat open. Let me just sort this problem out. There we go. Put that there. And I will drop it into here instead. Like that. So that's this is the keyboard. There is a version that's got a backlight on it as well. I didn't end up going with that one, but this one does have the sort of Apple controls on it as well. So you've got the Windows there, but also the Apple controls. And also when it folds out, it's got these two little rubber feet. So that's actually really effective that if you are on a wooden table, it's not going to sort of move around on you. The other thing is because it sort of folds from the outside, making sure I'm in the camera shot, that you can actually sit at a push with it on your lap. I don't tend to do that, but you can do because it's not folding in the middle. You know, I've had some folding keyboards that are impossible to use because if you're just putting them on your lap because they just fold in the middle. So highly recommended. This is a keyboard that I've had now for I think about 3 years, and it is still going strong. There's a rechargeable battery, but honestly, you don't charge the battery that often. It's kind of like once a month, something like that. I've just literally, my parents are visiting here in Thailand for the next month, and so I've just ordered one from Amazon US for my dad as well. So highly recommended, and I might just get another one for myself in case this one ever goes wrong or they stop making it, because it is pretty amazing. Next off in here, I've got one of these, which is actually an Ecamm branded one. So you all know I'm a fan of Ecamm, so they sent me this with some other Ecamm swag recently. But I once again refer you to the fact that my son uses my iPad, so with little grubby paws all over my iPad screen, these are great just to be able to sort of spray and clean your iPad. So I do carry one of those around with me all the time because I often get handed my iPad with bits of his lunch and things like that on it. So it's great for that. You can find links, as I say, in the description to all of these things. You may be aware, if you've been watching my channel, that I had been rocking the iPhone 6s. Well, that actually changed up in when was it? When I went to the US for Creator Camp, and I finally upgraded to the iPhone 16 Pro. So a little bit of a jump. Yes, I did notice the speed jump from the iPhone 6s to the 16. For the case, I've used Spigen. So I use Spigen case on my laptop. So this is just a pretty minimalist one, but it does a great job of having, on the camera controls on the iPhone 16 Pro, or on the iPhone 16 range, I should say, they added this little camera feature here that you can sort of slide. So this case did a good job of still giving access to that. There's no sort of interference with it, but it still gives the all-round sort of protection because I am prone to dropping things as well. That's where my son gets it from. And it does sort of protect the camera with this sort of raised bit here. But at the same time, it's still pretty minimalist. It is a MagSafe as well, obviously, so you can still attach things to it. The battery that I'm using, because you always do need some extra power with these things, this is actually a non-brand one. I looked at a load of different batteries, but I was looking for something slim because, as you can see, things are pretty full up in here. Let me just get the exact brand of this because I can't just remember the name of it, and it's not prominent on it. Let me just get it up, which is usually a sign that it's not going to be an Anchor or something like that. Whoops, that is the wrong one. Let me copy this. And I'm just going to paste this into my browser. There we go. So it is this battery. what is the brand? Cooler, KWLAA. So yeah, I'm sure there are different more reputable brands, but the thing that I liked about this was, first of all, it is really slim compared to the other battery pack that I was using before. It does have the MagSafe, so it will just sort of sit onto the back, and it also has a little stand that will push out as well. The other thing that I liked about it, though, was that you can plug in a USB-C into the back of it as well, into the bottom of it, I should say. So it means that I can be charging the phone, but I can be also charging something else with it as well. So, but it's just a really sort of slim form factor, so it fits into that bag. So that is the battery bank that I am using. Next is another thing that I've got from Ulanzi. I do like Ulanzi products. I like their industrial design. I'm still kind of feeling a little bit sour that the fact that they created what they call the Ulanzi Stream Deck. Seems like a blatant rip-off to me. But anyway, I'm kind of learning to forgive them. But this is a Carabiner style MagSafe tripod. So yeah, it's obviously got the ring there, so that's the MagSafe part, so it will just sort of clip onto your phone like that. But it's got these fold out legs, so you can do it in a couple of ways. So either you can sort of fold those out like that, these little legs fold out this way, and so it can just sort of stand like that with the phone on it there. But the other thing then is it will sort of rotate out this way as well. We can sort of fold these two apart and stand it up. So if you want to sort of really raise the thing up, you can see that that's now considerably higher. So you could sort of sit that on a desk for like a FaceTime call or whatever it is. I keep moving this out of the shot instead of into it, so sorry about that. But then also you can just sort of fold these in and use that as a way to sort of hold your phone like this. So if you want to do that sort of thing, then you can use it to hold your phone as a little handle. So it's pretty lightweight and it's pretty slim as well. So technically it's got a carabiner, so you could like hang it off a bag or something, but it does just sort of fit into the bag in the little slot that I've got there. So that is that. Now, also in here, then I've got this, which is the DJI Osmo Pocket 3, and I went for the Creator Combo, which everybody recommends because that comes with a few accessories, which are. I'll just sort of explain what this is. So this is a camera with a gimbal. So you turn it on like this, the camera comes to life. And then the thing about it is this camera here is on a gimbal. So as you turn it around, it's keeping everything stable. And it's great for taking videos. You can also take vertical videos just at a little click like that. You can double tap to turn it round, so now it's facing me, but then it can lock onto target, so I could lock onto my face here, and the whole point about it is as you move around, then the gimbal's going to be sort of tracking and following you around. It is really an amazing camera. There was loads of hype about it. I only got this relatively recently. It was actually when I was going to the US and wanted something to take with me for all of the things I was going to be doing there. As you may know, I ended up returning to the Thailand 24 hours after touching down in the US because of some things that I needed to come back home for. So I didn't end up doing all of the mobile stuff that I was intending to. But nevertheless, it is a great little camera. And if you saw the live stream I did, I think it was 2 weeks ago or maybe 3 weeks ago, which was all about cameras and understanding cameras. This was the sort of part of the motivation of it really was to explain how you can compare two cameras which may be, ostensibly very different. Like, how do you compare this to a Sony ZV-E10 and compare it to, some of the other cameras I've got around here, like, maybe this one, when they look so different, they've got such a different form factor. Well, one of the things to understand is this thing about sensor size. And the thing that really makes this such an amazing camera and why everybody is raving about it is the fact that the little body here hides inside a sensor which is the same size as a Sony ZV-1. So the Sony ZV-1 was this well, it still is a great vlogging camera, and it's a lot more bulky than this, and yet it's got the same size sensor inside. Now, there's a different lens configuration and stuff like that to bear in mind, but what that means, though, from this point of view, is that you do get a really amazing image quality out of it, even though it's got this really small form factor. The other thing I'll say about this is, and I found this consistently, when you see people demoing things on YouTube and you watch videos and you hear about a product and you go to see it, they always look bigger on the screen than they are in real life. So if you see me holding this and think that it looks like, even though it does look pretty small, but even if you think it's going to be larger, when you get these things out of the box, they are consistently like considerably smaller than you might imagine. It goes for microphones as well. Like if you see an actual Shure SM7B or the MV7 or the Rode PodMic or whatever, when you actually get them in your hands, I find at least that they're considerably smaller than you would expect. So what I'm saying is that this thing, whilst it might look small, it's actually smaller in reality as well. So it's a really, really pocketable camera. It comes with this case that it sort of protects it in like that. There are all kinds of other different cases. I've seen people with like full-on complete closing shells that give it some complete cover. But for me, this one just sort of does the job and it slots into the bag. It does also come, if you get the Creator Combo, it comes with the DJI mic. It's a pity it's not a couple of weeks later because I've got another product which I'm going to be replacing this with that's going to pair really well with that. So there'll be another video coming about that. That's what I actually carry, but for the time being, I've just left this one in the bag for demo purposes. But this does technically clip onto there, so you can like carry it around like that. I see people talking about you can use that as a place to store the microphone. Actually, I just store the microphone by clipping it directly into the bag in here, and then this does slot in there. So from a size perspective, it's not really taking up much footprint in the bag because it does just fit in there sort of in its vertical form. So I stand it in the bag just like that. But I mean, to have like this sort of mobile video kit effectively all fitting into this bag is pretty amazing. Now, the Creator Combo, I do normally carry around these things as well. So this has a battery in it, but it also comes with this thing, which is a tripod and a battery. So this is basically a sort of extender for the battery life, really. And you can just sort of clip that onto the bottom like this. And this provides you with another battery to give you some more recording time, but it also has this integrated tripod on the bottom. So if you want to just sort of be able to stick this on a table or on a desk or something like that, then it also elevates it a little bit more so that it's obviously higher off the desk, more closer to eye level. But then you can also use it if you've got this on here, as an extender if you're using it for vlogging or whatever. So my purpose for using this more so than vlogging is recording the kids and things like that. So I will use this to carry it around. There's one thing that I don't have in my bag at the moment, but I've got for when we do go out. It will technically fit in the bag, and it's this thing. It is a little bit on the chunky side, but it will just sort of fit in there from carrying my wallet in my pocket instead. And it's this thing from Ulanzi. And what I've consistently found in using this when I'm like following the kids or whatever is if I'm doing a sort of vlog style thing where it's pointing at me, then I tend to have it sort of upright. Maybe I need to show this way. Then I do tend to have this like upright because I'm looking at the screen and it's pointing at me. But if ever I'm, just following the kids around watching what they're doing, my tendency is to have this thing sort of pointed like this. Now, technically the camera does follow that in any case. The camera, if I just sort of lock onto something, then the camera will rotate automatically. But you lose some of the movement, and certainly if you've got this in this sort of angle, more down sort of horizontal, then you're not going to be able to get the full range of movement as if you've got it sort of held perfectly vertical. So what I did get was this one from Ulanzi, and there's a couple of reasons why I like this. So first of all, it's got a mounting plate. It does feel a little bit ridiculous if you see what this looks like when you've got the Osmo Pocket on it, because there's this thing and then you've got this effectively a tiny little camera on top of it. You can use this on a sort of full frame camera, not full frame, a larger camera. I think it carries up to 3.5 kilos or something like that. It's got a quick release plate on it. Again, all of these things are linked in the description. This is the Ulanzi TT38 one-click opening tripod, and I'll show you what that is referring to in a moment as well. Let me just drop this in because it is a really great tripod. Again, they're all in the actual description though. But what this does though, as well as having a ball head on it, as well as it also being like with the handle being at this angle, it feels to me like a lot more of a natural thing to be sort of holding this out in front of me at this sort of angle. Where is it like that? to keep the camera up vertical whilst I'm holding this out in front. But the really great thing is often we're, walking around doing stuff, and there's going to be times when we want to set down the camera. Well, this thing here with this handle, if I just push this button, then the legs fold out and it is just a tripod. So the mechanism on that, there's basically like a little spring somewhere inside in here. So there's a little spring thing here that when this all folds in, those components sort of fold into the handle. By the way, if you're left-handed, it's probably not going to be ideal at all, because the handle part folds out from here. So when I push that little button forward, then those two legs are just automatically forced out by the spring, and they sort of spring round like that. So the effect of it then, if you are holding this and you press the button, is that those legs just flip out like that. So it's great if you're wanting to sort of carry the thing around and then one of your kids falls off his bike or something like that, as happened the other day. Then you can just pop this open and set it down. Or if you're out and about vlogging, wanting to set it down on a table. So that is a great thing, which, as I say, I don't carry it around all the time every day because it is a little bit more on the bulky side, and I can certainly manage with the other little tripod in general, but it's a great one to have nevertheless in there. Also in here then, so in my little zipper pocket, I've got the AirPods Pro 2. By the way, if you are doing any sort of traveling on planes, can't recommend noise cancelling headphones enough. It does make a huge difference to the journey. The other thing then that I don't carry with me every day, but I would recommend, and it was Doc Rock who recommended this to me actually when we were he came with me to the Apple Store, took me to the Apple Store to get my phone in the US, and recommended I grab one of these. So I always used to have a little connector for the airline seats. So depending on what kind of airline you're flying on, they might have a different connector, but this is the one that Emirates use, and I know a lot of other airlines do, where it's basically got the two little prongs there, and then there's a 3.5mm out. So that's the sort of adapter that I use in the back of the seat on flights. Well, this AirFly thing basically just plugs into that, and so then this will transmit to AirPods. So if you're ever traveling, it's a great idea to get one of those so that you can use your own comfy wireless headphones whilst you are on the plane. So that's the AirPods then that are in there. Let's see what else we've got. The Apple Pencil, a few little adapters, so different USB-C and different adapters in there. Annoyingly, the one thing now that I've got that is USB-C mini, so one of those type of connectors is this keyboard. So I still do need adapters. If you live in Thailand, you know what those are. And a little chapstick as well, some Starbucks gum, and then what else have we got in here? So this is, well, we've got a mask. We still wear masks in Thailand sometimes, I guess in other countries as well. These are amazing. It is Magtame is the brand, and it is a USB-C cable. They make other types of cable as well, but you'll notice that it's all nicely coiled up, and that's because the whole cable is actually magnetic. So I can pull this out like that, but when I just roll it up like this, it all neatly sticks together. I got sick of having cables just going all over the place, whereas this is nicely rolled up. So you can see it just, I could throw it about and it all stays together as I go and knock things off. So it literally keeps everything all together, and then I can just drop my cable in there. They make a couple of different variations. So there's this one as well, which I don't tend to carry this one because it ends up being a bit more bulky, but you can see how this one is sort of like flat. And as I pull it out, it's sort of flat form factor cable, and that rolls up in this way. So it does remain flat when it's rolled up. They also make this kind, which is a circular form factor cable, but then rather than being fat, you can see it's sort of coiling up this way and building up layers. So I do have this one in the studio just when I need an extra cable, and it keeps it all nice and tidy. But actually for in the bag, I just find these ones are much better. Again, they're all linked in the description. Let me just go and grab them because there is a few others of these as well. A few other different form factors that I can just show you. Technically, let me see what the actual data rate is for these, because they might not have, you might not be the sort of thing that you would use for very high-speed data cables, but certainly for what I'm doing, they are more than adequate. So let's see where it is. We go to this here. So this is the company Magtame, and yeah, they've got different lengths of them, different colors, different connection types as well on there as well. But if you go to Magtame, you'll see they're all different kinds of cables. So this is what I was talking about. You can see that there's these flat ones versus these ones which are sort of coiled up. They're high power, so 240 watt. I'm just not sure of the sort of data transfer rate, but certainly they're absolutely fine for everything that I've been doing. They make little MagSafe connector style connectors, but for USB as well. So if you're prone to pulling your devices off the desk, then they make those sort of little dongle attachments as well. So that is the cable. So I carry that one around. So a combination of this battery, which is used for sort of powering my phone or charging my phone, or the AirPods will charge if you put them on to this as well. So if I need to charge those, they will charge as well. Or then I can just plug in this little cable, and with those adapters, I can pretty much power everything that needs to be powered. So also in here, then I have this, which is the Alpaca. The Alpaca, what's it called? The Alpaca, let me see, what's the name of it? It's just got a funny name to me because it's got a Pro in the name. What's it called now? The Alpaca Zip Pouch Pro. Like the regular zip pouch is not enough for me. I am a pro. I need the Zip Pouch Pro. But anyway, I don't think that we need to be using Pro for everything. What makes it Pro? Well, I'll tell you what makes it Pro. It's got an extra pocket in, so that's it. If you want to get the Alpaca Zip Pouch, then that's one thing. But if you really want to go Pro and get that extra pocket, anyway, that's my little comedy aside there. In here, I've got a little flashlight, and then I also always carry a little knife around with me as well, so that is in there too. The Fisher Space Pen, though, I'm always taking regular notes, so I have my little Fisher Space Pen in here, and then I carry around these little cards, which are basically my little note cards, which are just I guess I don't know what their intended purpose is, the size of a blank business card. So that's what I keep for keeping my notes in. I do really like this. So this is what I carry all, some cash and cards and things like that with. What I also did in total geek fashion is I completely disassembled my car key and took out just the electronics. So I've got when you go up to the car, the doors open and you just press a button to start like most cars do these days. But the keys for cars are just so bulky, so I decided to just strip it down and pull out the electronics and stick it in there. So this is now my car key as well. But it's a nice little thing to carry stuff around in, and so I can just throw that in my pocket. So that is the Alpaca Zip Pouch Pro. Don't forget to be always a pro with these things. So let's take a look at the bag now that it's pretty much empty. The other thing that I like about it over the Peak design, so the Peak design is great. And by the way, the Peak design, one of the things that I couldn't actually find at the time when it first came out, when it was 3 years ago, was will this fit an iPad mini in? And yes, the answer is yes, it does fit the iPad mini in there. So I was able to carry everything round. And initially, I really liked the organization of this because it's got, a pocket for everything, basically. My little keyboard always used to fit in the middle there, the iPad mini, and then all of this other stuff that I'm carrying around would fit in there too. But what I like about this one is it is a little bit more flexible because it doesn't have quite so many pockets, which you would think is sort of contrary to the whole point of it. But actually, one of the things I like is the fact that this center pocket here does sort of move. So the whole thing can either move all the way out this way or all the way out that way, which actually makes it a lot more versatile. Because if I was to try and carry all of the things that we've just had in here, even though technically this is a little bit larger anyway, but it's just a bit awkward with the divisions in here. You're kind of fixed with the Peak design in terms of the sort of sizing of things, whereas this gives you that extra versatility. So the way that it's set up inside then is you've got the this bit at the back, which is ideal for sticking an iPad. It's sort of got some soft lining in there, so it keeps the screen protected, separate from the rest of the section. By the way, they make this with a grey lining or an orange lining. I think the orange is technically I forget how much more expensive it is. It's slightly more expensive because it's some special fabric or something. But I got it because it does make it really easy to see what's going on inside and what you've got inside there. So inside that divider, there is then another zip pocket. So I use that again with little kids. little bits of medication and plasters, band-aids in there as well. And then there's also some little slots though for like SD cards and things like that. There is these two sort of pockets on either side. So because you've got this concertina effect going on, then they've got these little spaces that are then created here. So that's where I tend to stick sort of these things and my little microphone in that slot. And then this has got a couple of little stretchy pockets. So that's where I tend to have like my battery bank in there, and then that cable in there. So that just keeps that nicely tucked out of the way. But then the rest of it is just basically an open bag. And then you've got that little zip pocket just on the front, and that can be accessed from the other side as well. It does come with a strap that is detachable. I actually thought this strap was a bit bulky to begin with, and I thought that it would annoy me because I do tend to used to just carry this one round by its little grab handle. If I can get it into shot, the Peak design has a little grab handle. So I did think that this might feel a little bit bulky, but actually it's pretty comfortable and great to use. It does come off easily with this thing, and it does have a little sort of hard grab handle there. So if I wanted to carry it around like a little handheld bag, I could do that as well. It does have this thing, which I suppose is a little bit bulky. It's their little magnetic attachment, so you can detach the strap to take it off, and then it just sort of clips into place. Honestly, I've never used that. It's not that difficult for me to just lift something over my head, so I don't know that that's entirely necessary, and it does add a little bit of bulk. But nevertheless, it's still a great bag. But the funny thing is, in sort of thinking about making this video or doing this live stream today, was that I have really got quite a mobile vlogging, mobile streaming production kit in my bag, but I'm not really doing any of it. So I should probably change that, because rather than just using it for capturing things, family things, I should probably start putting this into a little bit more use. So you may well see some more of that type of content coming out either on the channel or maybe on my TikTok, Instagram, or something like that. I do highly recommend, though, if you haven't already considered it, is this thing, the DJI Osmo Pocket 3. You can connect it to your computer over USB. So if you're doing something where you think you might be on the move, on the go, as well as doing stuff, static, you could totally have this and have it plugged into Ecamm, and you'd be using it as your camera. The image quality is really amazing, great for low light as well. Just got a load of features. So it's one of those things that if you've got something like this, then you've got the tools to be more likely to create content that is maybe slightly different. That's what I was just saying about me. I haven't done any sort of mobile content before, but this would certainly enable that. And so yeah, that's what I'm intending to do. I hope you've found this interesting and something a little bit different to my usual streams. I don't normally talk about mobile gear because it's not generally what I'm creating, and I certainly don't talk about bags, but I am a total bag geek. So if you saw my other shelf over here, you'd see quite a collection of as I go through and try and find the perfect bag. It's a bit like this keyboard. There is a trail of a graveyard of other folding keyboards before I discovered this one 3 years ago, and it's the same with bags really. I have to go through a few before I find the perfect one, but this is the perfect folding keyboard. I would say that this is the perfect bag for me, at least for what I'm doing, and this would be the perfect mobile vlogging camera. So that is that. I normally say at this point I'm going to link to some similar content, but I don't really have a great deal of similar content to this, but I will link to some of my other studio gear and tactics over on the right hand side. Thanks so much for watching. If you've got any questions about this, feel free to drop them in the comments or into the Discord as well. Thanks as always to my channel members. I'll see you next time. Have a great week.